What's happening, guys, and welcome back to Sliced. Today I'm going to teach you one of the most versatile recipes I know. I've used this same recipe and it's changed every time I make it, but with the same base dough, you can do anything. We're talking about focaccia. This very famous Italian bread is so simple to make. You can whip it out for a dinner party or just for your normal dinner or lunch or anything. You can have it on its own with some olive oil, with some hummus, whatever. The base recipe comes from Jamie Oliver. You gotta give credit where credit's due. It works really well. So let's start with our basic ingredients. We need 500 grams of strong white bread flour. In that, we're gonna mix in some sea salt. Just a couple tablespoons will do, just to give it some flavor. Next up, we have 325 mils of lukewarm water. If you don't know what lukewarm is, it's basically when you run the water over your skin, you shouldn't feel it's too hot or too cold. It should be the temperature of your skin. A very sort of room temperature, neither cold nor hot sort of balance. To that, we're gonna add 1 sachet or 7 grams of instant yeast, and we're gonna give that a good mix and leave it to the side for about 5 to 10 minutes. You'll know it's ready when it starts to bubble and foam. If it's being a bit slow, you can add a teaspoon of sugar with it, just to speed up that process. Those are the 2 main ingredients. That's gonna make our dough. That's it, just 3 ingredients, and everything past that is just an optional filling. Now, the key topping to a focaccia is olive oil. You can't just take a focaccia out of the oven and leave it dry. It's gonna be awful. You need to dress it with a lot of olive oil. It's gonna absorb it and be really sort of moist and amazing, and it's gonna have lots of flavor. Make sure you've got some nice olive oil on hand. Next up, we have what we're actually gonna top it with. I'm going with rosemary and garlic because that's what I had on me at the moment. But you can literally use anything, I mean anything. I've used basil and sun-dried tomato. I've used some za'atar as well, which is sort of like a Middle Eastern thyme blend. One of the big things I do with focaccia, it might not be very traditional, but I use leftover roast. So say I've got some leftover lamb, potatoes, parsnips, that kind of stuff. I'll just chop it up and just stuff it in, and that way when you're eating the bread, you've got these little bits of lamb or chicken, you've got the potatoes, you've got the parsnips, full of flavor. It's so good. You can use sage, you can put nuts in it, you can do whatever you want. Pesto, any tinned goods you've got in your cupboard that you just want to use up, do it like that. If you want to leave it plain, you can leave it plain, but I mean, I think it's better just to put a little bit of sort of light seasoning through it. It's really nice. So that being said, we're gonna make this. So we're gonna mix in the flour and the salt together so that they're nice and combined before adding our bloomed yeast mixture into it. We're gonna mix as much as possible in the bowl before tipping it out onto a surface. The key thing here is do not use any excess flour. When you use extra flour, you dry out the recipe because you're altering the mix. What you want to do is just really knead it hard, and even though it's going to be sticky at first, it's really going to work. Once you've sort of brought it together in a ball kind of shape and it's sort of holding its shape a lot better, we're going to switch methods. So rather than just kneading it with your hand, we're going to start slapping it around. So we're going to use a method called the slap, fold and turn. So we're going to take the end of our dough, slap the top end onto the table with a lot of force. It's going to stretch out. That force is really going to stretch out and develop that gluten a lot faster than just using your hands. We're then going to fold the bottom half over and turn it. So just watch it a few times. We're going to slap, fold and turn, slap, fold and turn. And that's a really simple method that was taught to me at the One Aldwych Hotel. Amazing place. Once you've done that for a while, you're going to start to see that it's holding its shape a lot better. It's very springy, and it sort of has like elastic sort of bands going over the whole dough rather than just sort of shaggy little bits here and there. So what we're going to do then, this will be about after 5 or 10 minutes of kneading, we're going to oil the bowl and we're going to put the dough back in it, cover it with some cling film or a damp tea cloth, and we're going to leave it for 1 hour so that it can rise. You want to see it nice and doubled. And once that's happened, we're just going to stretch it out gently with our hands onto a tray. I've sprinkled a little bit of coarse semolina on the bottom. You can use oil, you can use flour, whatever. So we're just going to line that on the bottom of a tray. And this is the key part. You want to sprinkle some olive oil on top and use your hands to press in these sort of divots. And this is what's going to create those pockets for that flavor and the oil and the seasoning to just seep into. So I've plucked my rosemary and I've sliced up my garlic into big chunks, and we're just going to stuff that in, leaving it really full and packed with flavor. You want to make sure you dress your herbs with olive oil, otherwise you won't get that flavor. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, so at this point you got to cover it, rest it for another 20 minutes, and then it can go in the oven. And we're going to bake this in a preheated oven at 200 degrees or gas mark 6 for about 25 minutes. Just keep an eye on it, you know, it's not really going to mess up if you have a peek. And you'll see how it does, and when it's really nice and golden, you're going to take it out of the tray onto a chopping board. But do not eat it then. You can't eat it then. You have to dress it with more olive oil so that it soaks in. Leave it for 5 to 10 minutes so that it can rest, and it's best served warm. So I don't know why we've got such an ASMR kind of vibe going on this channel with the last video as well, but we're going to do another sound reveal, so just listen to that crust. So if you'd like to see more of these videos, please like, subscribe, follow me on my socials at slice_YT on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everything. I'll see you next week. Bye.